Good morning, DadSchooled podcast. I'm Josh. That's Jimmy, and we are back.
It's good to be back.
Good to be back. All right. You know what? Today is kind of a deep topic. We're going to dive right in. The loneliness of fatherhood. Ooh. And why so many dads feel alone. I feel like we need to have like violin music in the background as we do this one.
Ooh, yeah. Some
good.
Candles.
Whoa, that's the wrong direction.
Candles. Sorry.
No. Okay.
Some aromatherapy or something.
Yeah, weird. A little cedar dust in the air. Some gasoline fumes. I don't know if that's the right direction or not, but
maybe not some flammable with candles.
Yeah.
Candles. I mean, gasoline fumes.
Okay, so Jimmy, have you ever been completely surrounded by your family and your loved ones, and been going through the busyness of life, but yet felt alone?
Oh yeah. I totally been there. There's been some times in my life where, even in the midst of absolute crowdedness as far as population of people surrounding me, and then feeling like I don't have anyone on my side, or I just have to buck up and push on. I've been there. I've totally been there.
So this episode is for the people who have been surrounded by people, surrounded by family, and you can be in a crowded place and you feel alone. You feel just like no one has your back. It's a terrible feeling, and that's kind of what I wanted to address today. And you're doing everything you're supposed to do, right? Like you're going through the motions. You have your wife, you have your kids, you have your job, your responsibilities, but something feels off, and you're not. I don't know if content is the right word, Jimmy, but you're not content. You're not feeling seen. You're not feeling wanted, even though you're feeling everyone's needs, and then you start like feeling bad about yourself. Like, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I have good life going on. Why? And then you're feeling guilty about wanting more attention or wanting more recognition in your family, but it's I don't know. I mean, we'll get into my personal problems later. Hang on, this is gonna deep here, Jimmy. Okay, let's stay on the high level first. But you're feeling like no one really understands or cares. You don't want to dump your problems on your wife because they have their own problems. That's a common thing in my household. My wife has problems that she brings up to me. And it's kind of funny because I might be on my way to go tell her something that's bothering me. Like, I'm going to open up that a miracle moment that the father figure is going to confide in his wife about a problem. And before I can even say something, she goes on a list of 6 things bothering her. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to add to her problems. And I walk away. But I never get mine off my chest. So it just stays there, right? I'm not saying that's always the case, but it's happened a lot to me in my life, just because you don't want to push your problems on somebody else. I think that's a natural guy thing too.
Yeah, I think the times that it's hit me the most is when it's been self-imposed, where it just as you're explaining it, where I've been going through crazy stuff at work or something. Like, it was the craziest back when I was in retail management, and stuff could be just going absolutely bonkers with stressors and just deadlines or whatever's going on at work. And then I get home, and when I walk in the door, I'm like, if I dump that on her, then that's going to stress her out with all of the other things that she's got going on with her job and with the kids and everything else going on. So I just need to, I'm a man. I need to carry the load so I can be there for my wife. And I ended up telling myself that lie, where, we're supposed to be, husband and wife are supposed to come together as one. And by telling myself, I don't want to bother her because she's already got enough on her plate, then I've already put that wall up that's keeping us from being one. And it doesn't help when I've done that in the past. That's never helped.
Right. And you just keep pushing forward. And I think what it comes down to is at that point, only you know the struggle you're dealing with, which sounds weird, but if you think about it, like you have either attempted or not attempted to tell someone else your problems. You might not, and this is a problem I have too. I have plenty of guys in my life that I can talk to, right? But at this particular moment, I might not have, or might not have felt like that relationship was at the point this week or that day where I felt like I just out of nowhere wanted to dump my problems on another dude. Like that's another thing. Like I don't do that. I don't tend to like go into therapy session every time I text a guy. I might pop up and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, how you doing?" And just reaching out and trying to go through my list and talk to people. That's something I do consciously do every now and then. But I usually don't sit there every single person I text be like, I just feel so down and depressed, sad, and no one sees me, and blah 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 blah. And then
Mhm.
what I'm getting at is, at the end of the day, I know the struggle of what I feel like of not talking to people about those problems, and it's compounded a lot. And someone else who might look at me, like some of my family sees me walking around making jokes, being fun, they don't see that. They don't know that I'm internalizing that and I'm carrying that. So
Mhm.
it feels like I'm alone. It feels like I'm tired. Like there's been times when out of nowhere I just don't feel like doing anything. And then I feel, that adds to the guilt because I'm like, I have a list of things I need to be doing. And I can walk into a room and I can look around my house and see the 5% of projects I haven't completed yet. I'm a 95 percenter. I'll just get there and stop because it's functional and we don't need a banister on our stairs for real, do we? we actually do.
No,
I just
just
haven't put it up again yet.
kind of an old rope, just kind of drapes
The
down.
kids actually like the swing. It's okay coming down the stairs.
That's right.
But I'm emotionally done a lot of times at the end of the day, and it's not because necessarily of my job. Like there are times when my job takes it out of me for sure, but there are a lot of times when just the grind of life and knowing what I have to accomplish, what I haven't done yet, or what people expect of me, or what I'm carrying, it just drives me down, and I feel like just going to sleep, and then I feel even worse because I'm wasting time for sleeping. You sleep when you're dead, that kind of mentality.
Yeah, I thinking back to some of the times that it's hit me the hardest too is, and there's certain things that I think as men that it's good to connect with other men about and not just your spouse. Um, but something that I've like a hurdle I've tried to push myself past, but I definitely see it as it seems to hit everyone is when we get around other men and we start asking like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Or "What's up? I haven't seen you in a while." We go into "I've been so busy," and we start listing activities and things that have filled our time instead of what's going on in my heart and my mind. We go into, well, I had this on my calendar and I did that thing, and then I had this on my calendar and I did that thing, and then we went to this place and then we went to that place, and then we never get like we don't really scratch the surface of what's going on underneath. And I don't know, like it's just like this default setting. It is for myself, and it feels like it is that way for a lot of other men too, because other guys can go like, "Hey, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. How you been?" And we go, "Oh yeah, I went to all these things."
Mhm.
And I don't like that that's like my default setting, but it really is. Like I have to like mentally remind myself like, okay, hold on, he actually asked, how have I been as a person? I think he actually cares and is genuinely asking, and I have to force myself to go, you know what, now that I think about it, and then fill in the blank, whatever. But it's hard. I don't know why I do that. I don't know if you feel that same way too.
Oh, I have a terrible default setting story I'm going to tell you right now. And it's been enough years since it's happened that I feel comfortable and confident that I can share this without getting myself in trouble. Um,
Good. I hope so.
my default setting was
Not like
always
anybody's listening or anything.
right. Jimmy's mom. I'm sorry. Not even her tonight. Oh, there she is. No. Um, my default setting used to be saying with a sigh, huh, still alive, you know,
Oh,
still kicking.
I've used that one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So here's the problem with that. Um, Back before I was actually a born again Christian, back before I was saved, I said it all the time, and people said it around me all the time, and I picked it up. I picked that up, and then there was a time when there was a big push in close friends and other friends who I wish were closer now that I know them better, but they weren't, and now I don't have a chance, and I'll explain why that's important. There was a person who was very influential in trying to share the gospel with me, and he tried really hard, and I pushed it back in his face, and I was a jerk. I was an atheist at the time, and I was always trying to combat him on everything he said. He was very, very patient with me. Invited me to his house all the time, talked with him and his wife, and we had different, fellowships. And toward the end of knowing him, he got sick and he passed away. It was very sudden, like within a week. Like it shocked everybody. Tore the church almost apart. It was crazy. And I was at the moment in my life where it was like just starting to switch and start make sense, and I was starting to dig in and be more inquisitive, and it was a really like hard moment in my life. And at the time, I was still not a believer. He passed away, and it was extremely sad, terrible loss to this world. And his widow, his wife, was at our church, and she came back after some time taken for herself, and she was at the door greeting people as she came back. We were leaving the church, and she was, saying hi. People were shaking her hand and giving her hugs, and I fell to my default response.
Oh no!
To the
I can
widow.
hear it coming.
She was like, "How you doing, Josh?" I was like, "I'm alive."
Oh.
I said it, and it is as cringy as you feel it right now. It was worse. It was the worst, and I felt like crawling in a hole and never coming back out again. And so I don't use that one anymore because that hit differently that day. and
a little bit.
Yeah, it highlights, just like the nonchalant throwing it off, that kind of question response. Like someone's asking how you're doing, and I'm flippantly making a joke about it, right? At that moment, that joke backfired big time on me, and I learned a lesson. But it got me thinking about more than just that. Like, okay, I should probably come up with something different, not just like BS somebody if they ask me how I'm doing. So, but you're right. Your response also hits home of how busy, the kids are busy. I always fall back to the kids now. I had someone just yesterday at a volleyball game, another dude genuinely asked me how I was doing. What's going on with you guys? And I said, oh, the kids are busy. They're doing this, going running around, soccer, volleyball, blah, 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 orchestra. And you know what? That killed the conversation too, because he never responded anything else. He never came back with anything. I could have said anything else and then engaged with him. And I did follow up with him. How are you doing? He said, same. it's like, okay, we're two dudes not wanting to talk to each other, I guess now. But he's a nice guy, and So why do we do this, Jimmy? Why do so many dads feel this way? why are we creatures like this?
Yeah, I don't know. We've got all these walls up. Like, I don't know. It's to defend what we think of vulnerability shows weakness or something. Like I don't know why that's our default setting, but it so often is. And the times that I've felt the closest and had deepest brotherhood with other guys, or even just with my wife, the times that I've like felt like our relationship is like really hitting all cylinders right now. We're doing great. It's when I don't just go to those default settings and I'm actually like, hey, this is something that's been on my mind. This is something that's I'm wrestling with. And like when I open up, because my wife opens up a whole lot easier than I do, but I don't know. I don't know why. It seems like it's fairly universal for men in general.
Jimmy, talking to your wife is probably
we were created this way for some reason. But say what?
I said talking to your wife about problems is probably a different experience than talking to my wife about problems.
I'm her practice, her being a therapist. I'm her practice test dummy that she gets to just run all of these theories and strategies by, and that's why she's amazing at what she does, because I put her through the ringers.
Do you have to pay for sessions whenever you talk to her?
I'm in so much debt. It's sad.
Okay, so here's some theories that I came up with that might steer some of our listeners into directions of why so many dads feel this way, and I'm thinking it is high leveling this here. Dads just carry responsibility differently. You can see it, and I'm just gonna generalize here for a second. I'm sure anybody who hates our guts can combat any of these comments, and that's fine. I don't care. But this is what I feel. You feel like you have to be the strong one in the relationship. You feel like you have to be the leader, which, I mean, biblically speaking, you are supposed to be the leader. So your feelings are validated. You don't want to burden other people. You don't want to impose your problems on them for them to carry. You want to, naturally, guys are problem solvers. That's why we get in so much trouble when our spouses, try to vent to us, because we try to solve their problems and they just want us to listen most of the time. They're telling us, so and so did this, and we're like, well, do this back. And they're like, no, I just wanted to tell you. It's like, well, I'm trying to solve the problem you didn't have. But I don't want to burden others. I think I already said that one. We don't feel like we have a place to be open. Now, this is an interesting one, because you can have, we don't have the standard pillow encrusted room, with candles lit, and I don't even know what that looks like. Like, do girls just go places and just naturally have nice music in the background that flows like harp music or something? I don't know.
Well, I remember like one of the churches we went to when I was growing up, like men's bathroom was just, you walk in, it was just a simple little room, and here's where you do your thing, and then you walk back out, and you go in the women's bathroom. It's got like a couch and like little flower settings and all this sort of stuff. Like, it was like this like really plush, like cushy place. I'm like, man, we approach life differently.
Yeah, I've made fun of that before. My daughters and my wife's like, do you have to breastfeed a baby? And I'm like, you win.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
But then I'm like explaining the guy code. Like, guys go into the bathroom and it's like, you don't even look at each other. You don't talk to each other. If you do, it's the other person's responsibility to get out of there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
It's just it's a different situation. The girls sit there just like gossip and tell. I don't know, gossip's the bad word, I guess, to say, but
the quick calculus of what urinal do you go to when you walk in the room, like that's just ingrained in each of us.
If there's only two of them, you're not going to go to the bathroom until the other guy's done. That's how it's going to happen.
That's common courtesy.
Right. You should not give him a back rub. No. Okay, we're done.
No.
So many friendships fade as life gets busy, right? For guys, this is under why do so many dads feel this way. This one hits a little differently for me. I've had some really strong friendships over the years with some guys, and just different situations in different places in life. Like, I don't think I'm enemies with them now, but you know what? I've talked to you about this before, Jimmy. People just don't reach out sometimes, and it's just not the personality. And I haven't heard from some of my friends in months, and we used to talk every single day. Now, does that mean they hate me? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they do. But I'm just not in their life as much as I used to be. We changed churches a couple years ago, and I lost a whole friend group. Like, they don't even talk to me anymore. And it's not because they don't like me. It's just we don't hang out. And one of them split off. Like, one of those groups before I left. After I left, they split off to a different church, and they don't even talk to the people as well. And it's like, we used to meet every other Friday and do like a Palladium D&D role-playing game session as guys. I had seven or 8 guys just come over. Maybe not that many, 5 or 6. And every other Friday. And it got to be a lot because our schedules got too much. We had to pause for a bit. And I've always intended to bring it back and start something up again with the guys. But it never has. And all the guys who used to come over, like, ironically or religiously, we don't even talk anymore. Like, we used to play games. We used to play Battlefield and other games online on the off time of between game sessions. We don't even get online anymore and play games. And then what happened? Like, I am very busy, and I have lots of things on the side. I never have time for myself to have things I want to do. So I get it. I used to just make time for that. So we just stopped making time. The guy, and that's 100% my fault as well. But it's just, that's the season of life I'm going through. Is my friends have shifted. I'm more involved with this church now. I have other friends. You're a part of my church, Jimmy, and me and you don't even hang out outside of church sometimes because there's little to no time. It's just how it is. What else? Oop, I just lost Jimmy, but we'll keep on going. Work and family replaces brotherhood. That's kind of going into what I just said about friends get busy and friends aren't around as much anymore and they change. Oops, Jimmy's coming back in. Boop. There you are. You're back. Welcome back.
You were just
I was talking about friendship and you just left me, man. My friends are just leaving. Jimmy's like, peace.
It was not planned that way. I apologize. My computer decided to bring some levity to the conversation.
Yeah. So just to wrap up that section, loneliness often isn't because no one's around, like Jimmy leaving me, but it's because nothing's being shared. Honestly, like you could be complaining, and this is what we kind of hinted at the beginning. Like you could be completely surrounded by your family and still feel lonely. And that's a crazy thing. Like I can be sitting next to my spouse and feel alone. That's kind of it's sad, but it's the reality. It's my my emotional openness at the time and my burdens may not be apparent to her, and she might be busy with whatever's going on in her life. And we do talk. We're not like complete isolation from each other. But there's times when it happens that way, and it's just it's what it is, So this is like a new concept, right? This never happened before, even to people in the Bible, Jimmy. Right?
I think there's some biblical experiences that we can dive into.
Do you know any of those, or do you want me to list them all out for you?
Let's see, off the top of my head. Well, I know David seemed to express his emotions quite a bit. I think there's an entire book. It's a pretty big book in the Bible that seems to be a lot of his emotions, and a lot of times feeling like he's alone with others pursuing him, and he doesn't like that.
Right. Like Psalm. I always love Psalm. I always want to say Psalm, but it's Psalm. It's a weird thing. I can't read that without you say it that way.
It's not the way it works.
Psalm 25:16. Turn to me and be gracious to me, for I am lonely and afflicted. That sounds pretty lonely, right?
Yeah.
Nailed it. What Jesus even said this, right? Luke 5:16. He stepped away. Luke, I don't even have that written down. What is that? Do you know that one off the top of your head? Go. No? Okay.
You're doing great.
Thanks. Usually I have these quotes written out for myself, but not that one. Stupid. Awkward pause.
Just a clickety clack of the keys.
Well, that's not a very good one. Let's go back up to Luke 5:15, right? But now this is man, I picked a really bad one. But now even more, the report about him went abroad. The great crowds gathered to hear him and be healed by their infirmities. But he would withdraw to desolate places and pray. He being Jesus. As Jesus started revealing himself to the world and his claim to fame, crowds would spend all day with him, and he'd be healing and doing things with them, and it took a toll. And we often saw Jesus retreat to places to pray and to be alone and to recharge. So I love those. I don't memorize them because I am the worst with memorizing scripture. I need to be better about that. But yes, Jesus often did retreat to be alone and recoup. But he did cry out, and like I just said, but he would withdraw to desolate places and pray. That's a bad example of being alone, I guess.
Well, he did have the time the night before he died, where he did ask others to stay near and pray with him, and they didn't back him up. They fell asleep.
Right.
That
And
was,
I guess that's legit. Like,
that's a pretty lonely feeling.
yeah, that's a solidifying. It's like, you guys can't even stay awake with me here. Come on.
Yeah.
Paul, he experienced abandonment. 2 Timothy 4:16. At my first defense, no one came to my support. Aw.
Yeah, he's in and out of jail like 10 times. Seems like something.
Yeah. Some say he never got out of jail.
Some could say.
Yeah. Some would say. So all that being said, like, not trying to be silly with scripture, but there are plenty of references in the Bible about being alone and people being getting in trouble when they're alone too. That's the other part. Like, when they feel these feelings, they often don't turn to God like they should, and they will make dumb choices on their own without really consulting. Not saying it to be consulting with everyone around you to not make dumb choices, because plenty of examples in the Bible of people making dumb choices with the crowd too. Looking at you, Aaron.
Well, I think through the number of times Christ, when reading through the Gospels, and all the times Christ performed miracles of healing, setting people free of demons, there were a number of times that there was a situation going on, and Jesus would show up and enter the situation and heal someone. But the number of times that we see someone else seek him out deliberately, I've got this infirmity, I've got this affliction, this issue, I've heard and I know that Christ can do this for me. And the number of times that people went directly to him, and even that time that the woman that's bleeding in the crowd, secretly, without even having a conversation with him, touches his garment and she's healed. That she knew, like, if I can pursue him, that there's something to him, there's something there. And how many times we end up just like, well, I'm sitting over here afflicted, just Jesus, come heal me, come do your thing. But sometimes there's sometimes he'll step in and deal with something, but sometimes we have to go seek him out.
And not to like not to overbeat the dead horse or anything, but let's look at Job for half a second, right? Like, his life fell apart. Everything around him crumbled, right? And he is still able to communicate his problems with his folk, right? His friends. His friends were great friends until they opened their mouths, and that's when they became not great friends. And that's not what this episode's about. But the point is, like, he even was surrounded by people in his misery, and he turned to God, and he was asking the hard questions, and that's okay to ask the hard questions to God, because he can take it, and he got answers. The important part of all this is remaining faithful. When you become reliant on others around you, and that's like the overarching topic here in this discussion. Like, it's not about just opening up to your spouse. More importantly, bring these issues to God. Like, if I'm waiting in line to talk to my spouse about issues that are bothering me, I should have already taken it to God first, in my opinion. And I can bring it to God, and I'm not going to, I have no illusions I'm going to hear a great, rumbling voice from the heavens telling me an answer to my problems. I have no illusions that, just simply praying about something and the earth's going to shake and open up and I'm going to get an answer, So I'm going to tell God my problems, and I'm going to lay it at his feet, and that's what I should do. But I can still go talk to my wife about it afterwards. That's still a thing. Yeah. I'm not saying pray and then back it up with, just in case that didn't work, talk to my wife. It's, emotional support.
But I think before you go into that conversation with your wife, just taking a moment to pause and say, Lord,
right,
be with me right now. Help me to have just the wisdom and the words to speak, and to be able to sit in this uncomfortable moment. And I got to dig deep into my emotions or my feelings or whatever's going on, this hurt that I'm carrying. Just help me know where to go and be able to get a good outcome, an acceptable outcome. Help me get there, and then go have that conversation. Pray together. I mean, good Lord, how many times do we just end up emotionally vomiting on our spouse. And then we walk away, and sometimes there's, it can feel like there's some resolution, but oftentimes it doesn't. And then you look back and like, oh, like maybe we could have prayed together and like sought the Lord's direction as a team, like we're supposed to be. I'm
is
guilty
hard.
of that way too often. So,
that is super awkward, and I have been unable to do that so far, like consistently. I've tried, and I need that's a good call. I should try that more often, because it is just not something my wife and I do yet, and we're working on it. I don't think like we're actively, it's on our to-do list right this second to pray together, but like we don't, like we need to be better about that. I was thinking when you're talking, pray to God and then go talk to your wife. I was like, pray to God, then pray to God again, give you strength to talk to your wife.
It's a double layer to the prayer there. Yeah.
Power yourself up. I'm joking. My wife's great. I love Sarah. Love you. So moving on, we're gonna die in this if we don't keep it going. I want to highlight, strong faith does not mean you never feel alone. Strong faith means that you have your ducks in the right row and you're doing the right things, and you should be strong in your faith and obedient. But there's going to be trouble. We're guaranteed issues as Christians. We're guaranteed tribulations and trials. So it's going to be hard, and that's just not like external hard. It's going to be internally, mentally hard as well, and that's just it is what it is. Move on, but it's a bad explanation for this. So what are the dangers, Jimmy, of why is it, what's the dangers of staying isolated, and why does isolation feel easier than opening up to people?
Oh gosh, I mean, when you're on your own, you're not aware of what's going on outside of yourself, and you're just open up to all sorts of other attacks. If you're feeling isolated, you oftentimes end up isolating yourself. You're not there to support your spouse. You're not there to support your kids, and you end up putting the walls around yourself to allow others to support you. This has been on my mind a lot over the last week or so. I know that you like the YouTube channel Smarter Every Day with Destin.
Oh my God! You gonna bring up the window?
The Johari window. This has been on my mind so much over the last couple of weeks. So he goes and interviews his friend, who's a pastor, not necessarily relevant to this conversation specifically. And I guess it's kind of more of a psychology conversation than necessarily spiritually.
Right.
Yeah. It's about perspective, but it's take everything that's true about you and put it into 4 different quadrants. There's the quadrant that things that you know about yourself and that other people know about you, the things that you know about yourself and others don't know about you. So that could be secret sins or just things that you're oblivious to. It's true about you. You don't see it. You don't know it, but other people know it and see it about you. Or the things that, that was it. The things that you know about yourself and others don't know it about you. And then there's things that others know about you and you aren't aware of. And then there's the quadrant of you don't know it about yourself and others don't know it about you, but it's still true about who you are, about your identity, about who you are, what you are. And that 4th quadrant has been fascinating to me to think about in the times in my life. I'm like, when has that been uncovered? What times and experiences in my life has that been kind of peeled back and like, oh, and it makes me think of, those times you are going through the crucible, you're in the fire, you're going through just whatever's the craziness of life. And I can think of a time and an experience in my life in particular that I had a really close brother of mine. We were in it together, and we went through this fire together, and man, it peeled back so much. We were both raw with just emotion and frustration and stuff that we were going through together in this particular circumstance. And it developed such a deep brotherhood that we just have this kinship, this connection because of what we went through. And it makes me think of the stories of men coming back from war, World War II or whatever, and the guys that were in the foxhole with them, the guys that were in the trenches with them, they have those deeper bonds, those deeper connections. But it's something as a society that, this is where my mind has kind of gone, something as a society that isn't necessarily part of our culture and our upbringing for our children, is that idea of like a rite of passage, the idea of when you are becoming old enough, now you're a man. There's cultures around the world, seem to be a lot more ancient cultures, would send you out in your teenage years and put you through a really difficult situation, because it's under that difficulty the true you is going to come out. You have to really put yourself under this pressure to see, what am I actually made of, and can I do this? And we don't do that anymore, or at least very well, it seems. And so here I am in my 40s, finally going through this like insane crucible and seeing what I'm made of. In some ways, I feel like I did phenomenal in the work that I was doing. I'm so proud of myself. There's other ways I felt like an absolute failure, and seeing how I reacted and responded in that situation. But after watching that video, I recommend anyone go look up Smarter Every Day. The recent video he did on the Johari window, and think about that, about yourself. What are the things about me that I don't even know about? What are the things that I know about me, but I'm keeping it to myself, my secrets about me? Are there things others see in me and I'm just blind to for whatever reason? Who can I go to and say, hey, what do you see about me that I should give some thought to, that I should delve into? Who are the people that have that insight that you can go to? That's just been on my mind so much.
Yeah, and it's really, really funny you bring that up. I saw that this weekend on Friday night. I watched that, or Saturday morning or something. No, it was Saturday. But I was watching that, and I fully intended today. I'm my career field. I'm a manager of a development team, a software development team at a company. I have 4 guys that I manage right now, and there's been internal strife at work sometimes. And I fully intended this morning to tell my 4 guys to watch that video. I'm going to have them sit there and watch that. It's like 15, 20 minutes, right? It's not a big a deal. But I think they'll get some thoughts, just like you're having those thoughts. And I was having those thoughts, like, that fourth quadrant, the things that you don't know about yourself and the things that people don't know about you. I've always thought of that one as those situations that you think you know how you're going to react in. Run into a burning building to save a person, right? Those off the wall scenarios that guys daydream about, of like, if the government comes in this building, I'm going to tackle them and do this. Those things that we do naturally as guys. I think that might be it.
Jason.
Right, exactly. Because what happens if, this is a sad part, but what happens if you're a coward and you think you're not, and you think you're going to be macho, right, but that's something that no one knew about yourself and that you didn't know about yourself. So in that moment, if you completely flake out and you're scared and you don't help, that could be that moment that you find that out. That sucks. And then it's no longer in the fourth because everyone knows and but up until then, that's what happens, So I don't know. That's been intriguing me also. I'm more interested for my team at work to think about things people know about you, but you don't know about yourself. That's the one that intrigues me a bunch. And that's the part that, like, we need to recognize and hear, because people don't want to hear what people think about themselves half the time, because they have different view about themselves and they hold it differently. But the perception that someone else has about you and how you act, that is actually pretty important to how you interact with people. You got to keep that in mind, because you could think that you're 100% right on a topic and you're reacting correctly and your responses are correct and valid and factual. But if you're not perceived that way by others, then it doesn't matter what you think, because what matters, especially in a team environment, is because all my guys are remote workers also. So we're not in the office face to face with people or each other. We have to interact over Teams or voice comms and calls. So it's like, you gotta be really careful about other people's perception of you, or you can be misstrewn and you can have ghost arguments that aren't even happening. It's weird. Tone is so odd.
Yeah.
Text messages, same thing. But we gotta wrap this up, Jimmy. You're going long winded again.
I'm sorry, I had to introduce terrible content. Just wasted time.
Okay. So bring it back in here. Proverbs 18:1, Jimmy. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. Ooh, I like that one. So if you isolate yourself, you're seeking your own desire. So
yeah, that's going against being a part of a community and having other people pour into you. Yep, you need it.
And isolation doesn't affect just you as a dad. It eventually affects your whole family, because, and this is like, we're obviously talking extremes here. There's little micro, small sections of like, you might feel alone, but then you talk to people and you're fine again, right? You move on. Problem solved. I'm talking the deep, long-rooted, week after week, day after day, you're staying in that for a long time, and we're getting into depression. There might be other issues going on with that. I don't think in a healthy relationship with your spouse that you should be able to sit for that long in a depressive state, unless you're a really good actor. I don't know. That's their problem. I'm not saying. I know some people close to me who have this problem. They put on the happiest face and the sunshiny disposition when they're around people, but when they get behind closed doors, they're struggling big time. And it's hard because I don't have any advice for them other than, like, if someone asks you how you're doing, don't tell them fine, but then do you want to sit there and go through a therapy session with them in the middle of wherever you're at? Maybe not. But sometimes lying to people and telling people you're fine is also just as destructive. You shouldn't be doing that. I don't know.
I mean, there's stories of pastors that burn out because they kind of feel like it's their job to carry everyone else's burdens, but they end up not having that community for themselves. Ironically, being the pastor of a church, they don't have anyone they feel like that's there to help them carry their burden. That it's my vocation, it's my ministry to carry everyone else's. And then you hear they just absolutely burned out because they felt isolated. They felt alone, even though their job is surrounding themselves with other people and talking deep spiritual matters. And those stories are heartbreaking when those come out. So yeah, it can even happen to those type of leaders.
So Jimmy, we're to the section now. We're to Jimmy's 4 truths what dads need to hear. Okay. Truth number 1, Jimmy, go ahead.
Yeah. We've got you're not the only dad that feels this way. In feeling alone, you are not alone in that feeling. How's that?
I thought I was alone in that, Jimmy. That's crazy.
But you are not alone. You are not alone.
Okay, next truth, Jimmy.
I'll see if there's another Michael Jackson song for this one. Feeling alone does not mean you actually are alone. Just because you feel it doesn't mean that's actually the truth.
So you mean that if I feel like I'm alone, I might not actually be alone?
Mm-hmm.
In that bathroom stall, I might not be alone.
We just like to have. Well, I hope you are. Sometimes we throw these pity parties where it's just like people are wanting to be on your side, and like, for whatever reason, it feels better to just feel self-pity, and you reject the community around you. I don't know why we do that, but we do that too often.
What do you
number 3?
Hold on, wait. What do you think the response of our friend group would be? Like our let's just say our life group at church. If I were to post Josh's pity party and schedule a time at my house, like a barbecue, and people will show up there not knowing what to expect. Just label it Josh's.
Would there be food?
Oh yeah, there
be food.
Pity food.
I will be there.
I'm gonna put that in there. Bring emotionally support food for Josh. And no one's gonna know why. My wife's gonna be like, "Why are you doing this?" I'll be like, "People bring me food. It's really great."
It's gonna be great.
Okay, truth number 3.
All right, now, truth number 3. You weren't designed to carry life by yourself. Ooh. We were designed to be in community, to work with others, to not be a lone wolf. We're supposed to be part of a pack.
I thought God just created man by himself, didn't he?
No, he gave him a helper,
Oh,
helpmate.
his McRib.
Well, baby, you're my McRib. You guys can
Here's number 4.
use that line on your wife later. She'll be very happy with you.
I'll call her come here McRib, and she'll be like, stop calling me that.
What? Shut up. Okay. Number 4, God doesn't expect you to lead in isolation. Especially those of us who are husbands. Like, yeah, I mean, you're the leader of your home, but you have someone who's supposed to be on your team that ideally you guys are working through life's challenges together, leading your children together. And then, like we've talked about just briefly a couple of times, are there other men in your corner that you've been through some stuff? They've seen a side of you other people haven't seen. They understand you better than maybe other people do in certain ways. Yeah, don't isolate yourself. Find those guys and stay in touch. It's hard. We accept all these mental lies and barriers of, it's been so long. They don't care about me anymore. I was the last one to reach out, so it's their turn. Like, there's so many lies that we tell ourselves, and I got to get over that for myself, because I do that all the time too.
Yeah, and if you look at, if you need, gosh, biblical truths are really something we should always default back to, right? And just look at historically, early in the Bible, you have Moses and Joshua, right? They're leading the nation of Israel, and they are not doing this alone, right? They have each other, right? But let's just talk about Moses for half a beat. Before we really had any support, he was by himself leading these people, but he wasn't by himself. He had God. God was in communion with him. Communication. He was with him throughout the whole process. And look at this, like when everything was hard, he was still with God, yes, but things didn't fall apart until he stopped talking to God. You know, or not stop talking, but when he didn't talk to God and he chose to do things on his own, is when things fell apart. Really, when he was talking with God, it was still hard, but he had someone to support him. Okay, David and Saul, great examples. They had very high success rate in the beginning. They were in communion with God. When they turned their back and they did things for themselves or on their own, that's when everything fell apart. When they stopped talking to God, things fell apart and their life changed for the worse in reality. So I think I've been going through and trying to do the Terry Lee Cobble through the Bible, through the Bible, for a whole year. And I've gone through it 3 times now, and I have not successfully completed it. It's my own fault. I'm on the 3rd attempt now, and I'm actually sticking with it. I'm a couple days behind schedule, but every day I'm listening to this, and the idea is to read the entire Bible throughout the year, right? So I've really hit on these beginning stories a lot, and this is what excites me, is I want to be able to do this every year and have the whole context of the Bible in my life, which I'm excited when I get there, because I think it's going to help me out personally so much more. Because you always hear the standard stories, the standard scriptures, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They all kind of say the same story from different perspectives, and it's great. But all these other books of the Bible that I've never really dove into, I can't wait to see what kind of life truths and wisdoms I can glean from these to fall back on scripture in times of hardship. Because all I have right now is like Genesis, the first 10, 11 books of the Bible. And I'm like, does pulling people out of Egypt really translate to my daily struggles? Maybe not. There's things I can glean from it, leadership wise, but I'm really looking forward to more in-depth stuff in the future. All that being said, the whole point I'm making is everything I've seen so far in my studies have shown when people stop talking to God, life gets to the point where you aren't going to survive it. Life will roll over you and roll by you. So that to me has been strengthening for me over the past couple months of reading this again, and highlighting it right here. I mean, you don't carry everything alone. you carry it with the right people. And the right peoples is God first and foremost, and then your family. And if you have that mixed up, it might feel good, fuzzy for a while, but your priorities are wrong, essentially. And you need to flip that. You need to make sure you're in communion with God, and you are opening yourself up to hearing the directions that you have in front of you from a biblical lens, biblical point of view. You're not going to be reading tea leaves or looking for signs coming from God. You are measuring life experiences and choices against the character and nature of God, and how you not how you understand that, but how it's laid out in the Bible. If it doesn't match up scripturally, you should really question if you should make that decision or not. So,
well, it even just helps when you're reading those four gospels, that where we spend, so much time going back and rereading, rehearing those stories, and then you go, oh, when Jesus was saying this, or the Pharisees were bringing up this point, or whatever's going on, oh, it harkens back to this specific writing in the Old Testament scripture. This is what they're talking about. I have a new context of understanding, right. And that makes new, different sense, or better sense, because, and yeah. So it's good. I'm proud of you. Good job.
So that kind of goes into the next practical steps to break down isolation. Now, these are not meant to sound goofy, but as guys, we need to hear things over and over again and hear suggestions. I'm going to start all this conversation off by just starting with God, right? Because we should. That's what we just talked about. But in doing that, we need to acknowledge and recognize our feelings of isolation and struggles, and not ignore it, not brush it off and say, I'll be fine. I'll be better tomorrow. Address it. Even if it's something silly, and you just need to talk to someone. Hey, a simple conversation of I feel alone to your spouse should trigger something other than suck it up. If that's the response you get, there's problems you need to solve on top of what you're, not to add to your burdens, but that's something you need to work on as well. But you shouldn't ignore what your feelings are. Sorry, what are you gonna say?
Well, I feel like it's probably from AA or something, but it's so true. But it's that the first step to solving your problem is acknowledging there is a problem. And you hear that spoken sometimes, and it's kind of said as a joke, but that's true. It's absolutely true. Like you're not going to solve anything that you don't even realize is there. You're not going to accidentally fall into it. Yeah. But first go, oh, look how I just randomly solved all these problems in my life. How did that happen? No, you got to look at it and go, oh yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah, exactly. And so this next one's kind of odd. Talk to one person, not everyone. I would say, and I'm not trying to depress somebody even more out there if they're listening to this and they don't have one trusted person, or they're in I'm acknowledging that there might be people out there in a stressed relationship, or have problems right now with their spouse. You know what? This is can be one of the roots. Obviously you need to get with God, and you need to bring that in. That should be in your relationship first and foremost. And if it's not, that could be a big issue on why you're having trouble in your relationship. Because if you're both following scripturally how you should be treating each other and how you should be approaching your relationship, look at that. That's another problem to solve, but it's a key. But I really honestly feel that if you have God in your relationship, things should be easier between you and your spouse, because you're supposed to be aligned together. And if it's not, it's a heart issue for you or a heart issue for your wife. And you can't solve your wife's heart issue. That's between her and God. But you can solve yours. You can do the right thing, even if it's hard and emotionally, difficult. I get that. But you don't need to be telling all your problems to Facebook and Instagram every second of the day.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, yeah. So you bring it into that one person or that family. I would stay away from your mom and your dad, because the Bible speaks about that. If you have a spouse, you should be separated from your parents as one flesh. You and your spouse. They should be your best friend. They should be your emotional support. Okay, not saying you can't. Other dudes, I can go talk to Jimmy. That's fine, but he's still one person. I'm not talking to a group of 25 guys and naming the same problem and seeing different perspectives. That's not how this works. You're going to get a lot of different answers that aren't probably the answer you should follow.
We get this counterfeit currency from social media that if I post my grossness of life, whatever challenge I'm dealing with, and then I get 1,000 pats on the back from people.
Mm-hmm.
Those feel good. I feel seen. I feel acknowledged, but it doesn't get you anywhere. It
It's a
doesn't
vacuum.
solve anything.
It's a vacuum chamber
Yeah.
of your pity party.
Exactly. So you get this like sugar rush of all these people acknowledged me, yay. But it's when you go to that one trusted person that I can really open up and I can go deep into the weeds, and I know that they're going to walk through me with it from start to finish. That's where you actually get traction. You get substance and you get healing. And we are drawn to that sugar rush, that feel good. But it's empty, it's hollow. So I understand that challenge in the sense, as best as I can from someone who's not on social media. That's part of why I'm not on social media,
know how to get
because
social
that stuff
media.
bothers me.
No, but I mean, that's
So,
recently I've started doing this, and at first it was painful, but now it's really I feel vindicated doing this. As soon as I see someone on social media post, ugh, hard day, ugh, hard moment, I'm feeling stressed. That's all they post. They just post that, and that's it. It's like a lead in tie, and I'm like, oh, delete, friend, unfriend, unsubscribe, gone. Don't need you in my life. I don't care who you were. If you're really having problems, if you're gonna go to Facebook and put so stressed, ... and that's all you're gonna put, not gonna actually give a description, that's drama I don't need in my life. You're gone. Bye. Sorry, Mom.
Because that's all they're looking for, is for those quick responses of "I love you, you're great, you're awesome." That doesn't actually build you up in any way whatsoever.
Nope. I'll build you up. Unsubscribe. You have one less follower. There you go. There's your problem.
I feel so much better now.
Yeah, thank you. I needed that. Okay, quickly. We are at the subject. We're talking too much today.
Yeah.
So re-engage. Okay, first, acknowledge your feelings. Acknowledge it. Talk to a person. Number 2. Number 3, re-engage in brotherhood church. Iron sharpens iron. Jimmy loves that concept. Small groups, friendships, internal conversations. Get with your pastor. Oh my gosh, I can't stress this enough. Your pastors love talking to people, and they love free breakfasts. So take them out, pay for their breakfast, and talk to them. That's the easiest way to get a pastor to go with you someplace. Just pay for them. Just to say, hey, I got some McDonald's. Want to come? They're like, yeah. I dangle it. Let your wife in. Step 4, appropriately, right? Not dumping everything on her, obviously, but she should be wanting to help you. She should come alongside you. She's a helper. Don't shut her out. And when you stop talking to your wife and you stop sharing, and this is super hard. Oh, I heard this someplace. I don't remember exactly what it was, but when you stop sharing your life's ambitions with your spouse, there's a red flag. When you are apprehensive about sharing your dreams, no matter how silly they are, if they're legit in your mind that you want to do something, when you stop sharing that with your wife, that's a red flag for yourself. Like, your relationship is not where it should be. That's Josh wisdom here. Something's wrong. You need to address that, and it most likely is, obviously communication. But get right with God. If you're not right with God and you're not viewing your relationship how it should be viewed, then you need to fix that. And your pastor at a free breakfast can help you talk through that.
There you go.
Yeah, I've only one breakfast. I'm really hungry. You can't tell. Fifth, reconnect spiritually. Prayer. I think I beat this one over the head several times. Honest conversations with God. He is your dumping ground, but you need to not just complain to him and keep on complaining. It's lay those burdens at his feet. Give him the control in your life to say, I don't know what's going to happen. These are my problems, and be open. Like, look at things around you from a biblical lens and spiritual lens. Don't just complain to God. Check off a box. I prayed. Complain to your wife. Check off a box. Complain to Jimmy. Check off a box. Complain to social media. Check off a box. Do it yourself. That's not how you should do it. You gotta do it correctly. You're not doing this for the appearance of being religious. You're doing this for the heart of the matter. You need to make sure your heart's in the right manner when you do this. And you kind of hinted on this. Connecting doesn't happen by accident. It has to be built, right? You have to be intentional about what you're doing. You're not going to accidentally walk into a room and then all your life problems are solved if you don't make an effort to solve them correctly.
Yeah.
Any cleanup on
It's
that
true.
section, Jimmy, before we move on?
No, I think we hit it all pretty well.
We hit it over the head. All right. So I intended this ending section to be about us talking about our problems, but in reality, you kind of mix those in anyways throughout the thing. So we're not going to.
No, we're running out of time. You guys
Yeah.
You're not going to hear our problems.
Yeah. I guess we don't have time to share our concerns. That's fine. No one else wants to hear them. Okay. So, Jimmy, here at DadSchooled podcast, do we like to hear people's problems?
Always. Like I will be your Facebook complaint department.
You are not the Facebook complaint because you don't look at Facebook. Okay,
that's true.
You're the worst social media person ever.
Intentionally.
Like you still haven't responded to my hello on Messenger like 2 years now. Come on.
Yeah. Sorry. It's not you. It's everybody.
Everybody else. Right. So if you want to connect with us, if you don't want to connect with us, that's fine. You know what? If you don't want to talk to us, still message us, and then we'll tell you thank you for telling us that. We won't bother anymore. That's fine. But DadSchoolPodcast.com. You can reach if you are viewing this on YouTube. Leave a comment. If you're viewing this on Facebook, leave a comment, like, subscribe, share. Please feel free to get back with us. DadSchoolPodcast.com has all of our links for connection. Man, Jimmy, we have some good topics coming up in the future. I'm not going to share what they are, but we have some deep diving, emotionally scarring topics that you won't want to miss.
I can't wait.
Good. But you'll have to because we'll be back next Monday.
We don't have time.
We don't have time. All right. Closing thoughts, Jimmy?
Show up.
Be present
with your family. Be present with your spouse. That's your first concern. If you don't have spouse or you guys are having some challenges, then seek help. Seek community somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Be present with your kids too. So I think the order of operations: God, spouse, children. Right? That about right?
Mm-hmm. And then Facebook, and then work,
and then the world, and okay, right.
Okay, no.
We just lost some friends.
We did.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining.